إنجليزي. أيوة الآن سيكون امتحان. السلام عليكم. كيف حال لويزيان؟ كل شيء بخير؟ الحمد لله. امتحان. لا 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 لا، أنت لا تكون هنا. عليك أن تكون هنا. أيوة إمتى؟ السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الامتحان امتحانان. شكرا جزاك الله خير. بارك الله. سلام على الرجال. كيف حالك؟ الامتحان امتحانان. واحد كتابة، واحد تكلم. ايوه. اما انا في الكتاب، اما الاستاذ يدرس الكلام. فكان كل واحد منكم يجب ان تاتوا وتقول السلام عليكم.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمه الله. اسمي، وتقول اسمك. فهمت؟
نعم.
ما اسمك؟
اسمي مرغني الإدريسي.
ثم بعد ذلك فرصة سعيدة وسلام، يعني مرحبا أهلا وسهلا. ثم هو سيسألكم سؤال وعليكم أن تجيبوا. فاهمين؟
لا.
أيوة سوف تفهمون. وما أدراك يفهمكم. سلوا، هو سيسألكم، هو يسأل أنتم تجيبون. هذا هو المهم. استمع لما يقوله هو وتجيبه على حد السؤال. فاهمين؟
فهمنا.
أيوة الحمد لله.
آمين. جماعة الحمد لله.
لا بأس. أيوة. خذ ورقة، خذ ورقة وجل اسمكم عليها. انظر.
وين
أو
ورقة
نفس الفكرة.
باسم تسجيل؟ ورقة باسم؟ لا لا.
عندك قلم؟ فجعل إليها إسماء لكل واحد، إنما يقول لا ثم تقول لا ممتازة أو سواء كاسية صباح صباح يجب عليها صباح. أريدكم أن تفهموا جيدا. الساعة لا استمعوا لو سمحتوا. في هذه الامتحان أريد أن أفهم منكم الساعة إما يكون صباحا أو مساء أو ليلا. فاهمون؟ أيوة. لا يجوز لكم أن تقولوا هو الساعة الثانية وتسكت. الساعة الثانية ماذا؟ صباحا أو مساء. فهمت؟
نعم.
أو ليلا، يعني ليس صباحا، يعني ليلا أو صباح أو مساء. فاهمون؟ أيوة الحمد لله رب العالمين.
نعم أستاذ.
نعم. أنا أستمع؟
لا فهم.
ما شاء الله سوف تفهمين إن شاء الله. هذا هو سوف تفهم. مين لأنك امرأة. سوف تفهم، سوف تفهمين. يعني مسلم، مسلمة. فهم؟ يعني أنت. يعني فتفعل، تفعلين. لين بالنون. مفهوم؟ مفهوم؟ أيوة الحمد لله. وآتي بالورقة الآن. وأريد على هذا الورقة ماذا أكتب هنا؟ اسم، يوم، أو نقول التاريخ. تاريخ ثم عندنا أما النساء تبدون كل واحد. النساء واحدة تأتوا وتجيب تبدين هنا. واحد تبدين. أنت الأولى. ثم هكذا 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. فالأخيرة هي أنت الأخيرة. الآخرة. فهمت؟ أنت الأولى وأنت الآخرة. فهمت؟ أيوة الحمد لله. أيوة تبدين بعدين. أيوة تبدين الدرس. تو هذا هو. اكتب هكذا. هكذا تعرف أيها الأجابة. تريدون تكون بعيد؟ أيوة تفضل. أنا كنت أخذت النساء أن تمشون هنا بس. أيوة الحمد لله. فيعني هل من الممكن تذهب هنا أو هنا؟ أيهم أفضل عندك؟ أيوة men you guys come forward. Ladies, you're gonna have to walk this way to come over here because we don't want you to hear the answers, okay? Okay, does that make sense? So you guys have to come forward. I have to, I can. No problem. mind? One second. Just a little bit forward. Alhamdulillah. أنا أحب الامتحانات. أحب الراحة. لا 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 تتكلم يا ولد من فضلك. انتهيت؟ سهل لا؟ C'est facile. لا 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 نعم بالعربية أو بالكتابة الإنجليزية والعربية. لا لا اكتب يعني الساعة مهما هو، الساعة مهما هو، صباحا أو مساء، ليلا، فهمت؟ اكتبوا الساعة كذا وكذا. إما ساعة دعني نقول يعني 13 فهمت؟ في الليل أو مهما يكون، لكن لابد الكلام كامل ليس الرقم. Did you watch the video?
Yeah,
You look good.
I feel good. How are you?
What you doing? You did something different. Maybe it's this thing right here. Like a curve. We talked about numbers with time in the last class. Hey, put that phone down. I know about Google Translate. We're doing a little bit of that, and we're doing the test today. Then we'll start the class. نعم
هل أسألك
نعم
سؤال؟
نعم تفضل أسألك.
الورقة؟
في الورقة؟ نعم نعم. إما يكون مساء أو إما يكون ليلا.
أما يكون ليلا.
انظر إلى ما كتبت لنا في اللوحة.
أوكي.
فاهمين؟
مثلا.
نعم.
فهم.
فهمت؟ فهمت؟ نعم. ليس السؤال لا. مقبول نعم هكذا مقبول. الحمد لله. أيوة تفضل. لعلك عليك ينتبه. لا أنت وراء زوجك. عليك أن تكمل هذا في كتابة. يا سيدي يا سيدي اجلسي مستقيم.
لا. اسم مدينة. اسم
انتهيت؟
مدينة.
انتهيت؟
اسم
خذ من كلنا. انتهيتم؟ هل انتهيتم؟ أيوة قد عندك 3 دقيقة بس أسرع سننتهي الآن. انتهينا. عندكم 3 دقائق. Don't put a paper in. Don't put a paper in. Because you're in the class. أيوة انتهيتم. أيوة خذوا الأوراق من الرجالة ودون أنت خذوا ورقة من النساء. لا أنت قومي وخذوا ورقة من كل النساء. تأكدوا أن أسماءكم في الفوق واليوم التاريخ اليوم يكون على اليسار. اسمكم على اليمين والتاريخ اليوم على اليسار. تاريخ اليوم يوم السبت. فهمت؟ صفر ايش؟
ايوه
مفهوم؟ هيا تعال انتهيت وقد قضيت. غلط. ما فيش تقليد. لا تتكلموا حتى آتي بأوراقي. عندما عندي أوراق ثم تستطيعون أن تتكلموا. أخذت من ورق؟ كل الناس؟ عندك كل ورقة؟ هل لديك كل ورقة؟ لا يورقة.
لا واحد ورقة.
اتركيها وخذ منها. انتهينا؟ أيوة الحمد لله. شكرا جزيلا. ايوه ما زلنا في امتحان هناك. اوكي ما زلنا في امتحان هناك، لكن نحن سنبدأ الدرس الثاني الآن. فاهمون؟ لا أنتم خائفون أن تتكلموا؟ فهمتم؟ فقل لا أفهم. هل فاهمون؟
لا فهمنا.
قلت ما فهمنا،
ما فهمنا.
لكن كل شيء ما فهمنا. قل زدنا يا أستاذ. نبدأ مرة أخرى. أيوة سنبدأ الدرس الثاني. فاهمين؟ لا توسوسوا، ارفع صوتكم. فاهمين؟ أيوة وأنتم لا تفهمون. نعم؟ أيوة الدرس هذا الدرس والأستاذ يتكلم والتلاميذ يستمعون ويكتبون ويدرسون. هذا يسمى درس. مفهوم؟ أيوة الحمد لله. وامتحان. الامتحان هذا امتحان وهذا ذلك الامتحان. أما هذا انتهينا. انتهينا. قولوا انتهينا. انتهت. هي انتهت. فانتهينا من الكتاب. الآن دحين نبدأ دراسة هنا، لكن ما زال امتحان الثاني. فاهمين؟ امتحان هنا، درس هنا مختلف. فإذا انتهت هي أنت تذهبين ثم أنت ثم أنت ثم أنت حتى نصل إلى النهاية. وإذا لم تنتهي من النساء ونبدأ الرجال في يوم آخر. إذا ما فيش مشكلة، لكن لا يجب أن يكون الامتحان صوتية فموية ولا أذنية. لابد. قولوا لابد. واجب. الصلاة لابد من الصلاة. فهمت؟ لابد أني أصلي. يعني فرض واجب. لابد واجب. فهمت؟ هل فاهمين؟ أيوة الحمد لله. أيوة تفضل أسرعي. إذا رأيتم واحد تقوم وتذهب، والأستاذ لا ينتظر. السلام عليكم يا دكتور.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
كيف حالكم؟
بخير وأنتم؟
لا بأس الحمد لله رب العالمين. اليوم يوم جميل، يوم الامتحان. أنا أحب يوم الامتحان. كل ناس خائف. والذهن يتحرك. مفهوم؟ هذا جيد. نعم. لا فكروا فيما تريدون أن تقول قبل أن تقول يا أستاذ. أيوة تفضل. لا هذا ليس جميل. جئت من بعيد لويزيانا، تتأتي هنا تتكلم في الدرس. ولا وهي تسألك لا تجيبها. مفهوم؟ إن كان واحد يتكلم معك في الدرس جاهلوها وجاهلوه، لأنه ليس يعني هذا ليس من الأداب. ألم نأخذ درس في الأداب؟ أخذنا الدرس في الأداب، نعم. وهذا يعني ليس كلام، هذا أفعال أخذناها وتحركنا فيها. أي كل أمك تأتي في الدرس لأني انتهيت من الامتحان. أوكي. تعلمت. أنا أقرأ كثيرا من الأشياء. أما أنا أقرأ كثير من الأشياء لأني أريد أن أعرف كل شيء، ولكن لا أستطيع أن أعرف كل شيء، لكن أتعلم شيء قليل. كل ما أقرأ شيء قليل. هذا كتاب عادي، هذا كتاب تعرفون، هذا كتيب ليس كتاب. كتاب أعطيني كتاب. أي كتاب؟ أعطيني كتاب. هذا أعطيني. شكرا. هذا كتاب. هذا كتيب. كتاب. كتيب. الحمد لله. كتاب. الباء يجب أن يسمع. نعم، أن يسمع. أسمع صوتا. فالصوت يسمع. فهمت؟ أيوة الحمد لله. فبدأت أن أقرأ. نعم كتاب عادي ليس كبير، لكن أكبر من هذا. كتيب أصغر من الكتاب. لا كتاب كبير، لكن كتاب، ولكن كتيب صغير أصغر من كتاب. فاهمين؟ أيوة. فقرأت هذا الكتاب. لم أنتهي بعد. ما زلت أقرأ. لكن لما قرأت وجدت ثلاثة أشياء أريد أن أشارككم في ذلك. أريد أن أشارككم، أن أشارككم. نحن سنجعل الشرك حرام، نعم؟ لكن أنا أشارككم في علم ليس في العبادة. فاهمين؟ الحمد لله. وفي وراء الكتاب يقول نوتس، فكتبت نوتس هنا. عندما قرأت هذا الكتاب وجدت ثلاثة أشياء. The first thing that I found in this book that I want to share with you, get off my wall back there, you there, California. It says, after the Latin script, the Arabic script is the most widely used script in the world. I mean, it's the second most used writing system in the world. هذا شيء جميل، نعم؟ لأنه يستعمل كتابة العربية في آسيا، والآسيا يشمل الجزيرة العرب. فهمت؟ الجزيرة العرب هو غرب Western Asia. فهمت؟ فاهمون؟ East Africa, Western Asia. فاهمون؟ أيوة. فكتابة العربية يكتبوا في أفريقيا وفي آسيا. فهمت؟ فهو ثاني مستعمل في العالم. فهذا اليوم كان أولى قبل 1922. Before 1922 was the most used script in the world. Him? Part of independence, part of the rules of independence for Nigeria and most of all the countries in North Africa, including East Africa, Tanzania, Kenya, was for them in Nigeria to get their independence, they had to agree to stop printing their newspapers using the Arabic script.
Wow.
Those are in their rules for independence. These are things they don't tell you. Because all those African languages, guess which they were written in? Arabic script. Just like they write French in the Roman script. They write Russian in the Roman script, right? They write English and all those other languages using what they call the Latin Roman script, right? All of those other languages were written in Arabic script. Fahmoon? So now that they stopped doing it, Arabic is the second most used. Prior to 1922, it was the first use. There's an interesting thing you could Google online. It's called when the world spoke Arabic. I think this was something like that. Okay. Now the second thing I learned from this book was the Arabs are the third largest ethnic group in the world. You know the first? Anybody want to guess?
Africa.
Bantu Negroes. Okay. Second, Han Chinese. Now the name Chinese comes after, time because that's a real stretched term. But Han is a more general term. And the Arabs come third. Okay? Fahmoon. And the third thing that I learned from this book was tests show that words spoken aloud 10 to 20 times are remembered more easily than words heard 50 to 100 times. You heard that again? Let me say that again because I'm always telling you guys to do these things. And then, there is a science to this madness. They say here that tests show that when you say a word 10 to 20 times out loud, it's remembered, meaning more easily regurgitated and used than if you see it or hear it 50 to 100 times. So you can see it 50 to 100 times but get the benefit of seeing it 50 to 100 times by just saying it 10 or 20 times out loud. Not whispering. Fahimeen? No. Say Fahimeen. And now أترك فمك. نعم. هل لك سؤال؟
نعم.
تسأل.
يا شيخ يا
أستاذ يا شيخ.
أستاذي لغة عربية. لماذا اللغة العربية في مصر غير
مختلف
عربية
في العالم؟ نعم العربية في مصر مختلف لأن مصر مكان التجارة. لأن مصر بلد في مكان كل الناس في العالم يذهبون إليها. فهمت؟ لأن مصر مثل نيويورك أو تريد سنتر. فأنا آتي وأتكلم إنجليزي، والثاني يأتي يتكلم بورتوغيز، وآخر يأتي ويتكلم غريك، وآخر يأتي ويتكلم إسبانيول، وآخر يأتي ويتكلم تركية، وكل هذا يخلط. وأيضا مصر مدرسة، جامعة، it's a school. فيدرس الناس والناس يبقون. And people come and stay. فكل هذه كلمات يخلط في اللغة. هكذا. هذا تجيبه؟
نعم.
أيوة الحمد لله. Mainly, a lot of the stuff you hear in Egyptian Arabic is Turkish, because it was the second capital of that area in that region. So you had a lot of Turkish. In fact, if you look at the breakdown of how Turkey looks, Egypt is identical. The streets, everything is just Turkish. You get my point? So that's why.
أيضا لغة عربية في المغرب Morocco.
Now, Maghrib is for a different reason. The reason why Moroccan Arabic is different because it's mixed with African languages. It's mixed with Berber first, and it's mixed with Fulla second, then it's mixed with French, and it has some Spanish. Okay? See, it used to be part of the Spanish world, but when they were doing the reorganization of the world, they didn't want it attached to Spain because then that would have drawn too much attention that Mr. Mendez in Mexico is the same Mr. Muhammad in Casablanca. Okay, and they both wear sombreros. Okay, and they both, have the same exact culture, and you can't tell them apart. And they don't want to point that there was a relationship, a long-term relationship between West Africa and the Gulf of Mexico. So they said, in order to stop that, what we'll do is we'll attach them to France, which geographically is far from, where it's only 10 miles from Maghreb to Spain. 10 miles, that's straight, it's 10 miles. You take the ferry back and forth every day, So, they wanted to draw a divide between it, but it's hard to when almost so many different cities in Morocco are still in Spanish. And Western Sahara, which is the country right under Morocco, speaks Spanish. That's their language. You get me? So it's like, you can't.
It used to be called Spanish Sahara.
And it used to be called Spanish Sahara. People, they changed the maps and you miss it. But see, Spanish Sahara, or we call it Western Sahara, is right over Mauritania. Right? And it's not governed by anybody. Since World War II, they have never accepted anybody. So they have no president, no government, nothing. Okay? You go there, you have to talk to the chiefs, to the emirs. And you pay your tax and you go by. You can't go. If you're Muslim. If you're not Muslim, they don't let you through. Go back. Okay? So, because you got to remember, Mauritania is one of those countries that's 100% Muslim. That's to their immediate south. And the south of Morocco is 100% Muslim. Only the north has the Jews that ran away from during the Spanish Inquisition. They still have that. So, that's why they changed the language to French there. All these are tricks that they've done. But this is why we have to know our history. Because once you know the history, you know who you're dealing with. And you can look at it with a plain face. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And this is why, another reason why I say that Swahili should be considered an Arabic language. And in the older books of Arabic, when you look and see what the Europeans were writing, they did consider it an Arabic language. Why? Their argument that Swahili is not an Arabic language, they say, is because it has too much what? African language in it, right? That's what they say. Well, what do you say about Maghrebian Arabic? I understand Fulla. I hear the Fulani words in there. I can tell the ones that are not Arabic from the Berber language. You get my point? And we know that when they say Hati be voiture, the voiture is French. Okay? That's Sayara, in French. So you got Berber, you have French, and of course the Spanish just bleeds out, and it's all mixed up. Not too different than English. The English we speak is not English. It's mostly German. Yeah, it is. What do you think a wagon is? Wagon is German. Folks is German. That's where they get their Volkswagen, right? The people's car.
And then fatigue is French.
Fatigue. Most words, restaurant. The French is 75% of English is French. If you want to do percentile. But remember, the French and the German are cousins. They're right next to each other and been, doing that whole fighting each other, till they became Norman. Again, knowing the history of the place makes you understand what's going on, okay? But I don't want to do a general class on I love history, okay? So I don't want to do that here because that's really a fiqh class, to be honest with you. We're going to deal with fiqh, inshallah ta'ala, but we need to establish ourselves first and foremost, linguistically, as understanding Arabic, so that when we have established that base, that standard, اجلس يا شيخ أستاذ يدك على الأرض you know, once we establish a baseline, you know, then everything we do in other sciences is going to support that. You get my point? It's going to increase that understanding of Arabic more and more. Fahmeen? Hey, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Now,
I have one question.
sure.
What you just
Not I don't want my students saying That's not intelligent. So guys, speak.
what you just expressed to us.
Yes, sir.
What I gather from that is that we were weakened by them cutting us off from. That was the plan to cut the Islamic roots off as much as possible.
I'll give you an example. The Masonic order, if you read their earlier books before the 50s, remember, they did not expect Negroes in the United States to read. Okay? Not their language. So they didn't hide these things. What they said about how they're going to destroy your memory is just not mentioning it. You get my point? Perfect example. I've been talking to you guys about World War II for the longest time, right? And what did they tell you about World War II? What was World War II about? First thing comes to your mind. Still Hitler and the Jews, right? It had very little to do with Hitler and the Jews. Hitler and the Jews was the secondary reason. And it only became Hitler and the Jews because Hitler was, the Germans were friends with Turkey, okay? Well, not Turkey, because there was no Turkey. The Ottoman Empire. Since they were friends with them, they were the last ones to leave them, to abandon them. So what they were doing, all the other colonizing countries were saying, you know, hey, Germany, leave the Ottoman Empire, and we'll give you something. So finally, when Germany said, okay, we're going to traitor them, we're going to leave them, okay? And they left them. Germany said, well, now give me this, that, and the other thing. And they said, no, man, you come in this thing last and you want more than everybody else? Germany said, man, I'm giving up a lot to be with you cats. I want this, I want Belgium, I want this, I want that, I want Tanzania. You know what I'm saying? And they said, no, man, we're not doing it. And they started fighting over the pieces. And then it came about Germany. You get my point? Japan. Why was Japan? Because they told Japan, leave Turkey alone, leave Ottoman Empire alone. But what the Ottomans and the Japanese have a long hundreds of years relationship. You get my point? Because remember, Genghis Khan and all those guys are cousins. Okay? The word Han, pronounced like that in Chinese, how is it pronounced in northern Manchuria? Khan. The Han people, same people. Just the same grandfather, different branches. Korea, Genghis Khan. Russia, Genghis Khan. Oh, Turkmenistan, Genghis Khan. Uzbekistan, Genghis Khan. All his daughters were the first founders of those countries. So they're all related. Manchuria, Japan took Manchuria, which is Mongolia, which is okay with the Ottomans. They're all okay with that. Russia wanted it. So now Japan becomes a problem because they're not going to separate from Ottoman Empire. You get my point? So then, who's in charge at this time? Abdul Hamid II. You probably never heard of him unless you did your own research. He was such a great Khalifa that the Ottomans said, you know how we're going to kill this man? Because killing him ain't enough. We're going to wipe him out of history. And they wiped him out of all English books. You and I never learned nothing about him growing up until the internet comes, until you learn a different language and you read about all that type of stuff. Then you realize the real reason, that's how they do their whole war. Their war is a war on destroying your history. How? By erasing it. By not presenting it. And you, me, anybody who still is so naive to expect to get anything from them, to me, that's blameworthy at this point. Especially if anybody of African descent. We don't even need to take DNA tests for the most part to know where we came from. They know. Do you believe all of a sudden the records that they had is just disappeared? They know that they took particular people from particular places for particular places. But are they still today? Are they sharing that information? No, because they don't give a damn about you and I. You know, it becomes really blatant. Look what in the news, if you look in the news, just what happened, America just blatantly saying, yeah, we supported terrorists. And, you know, and they're going to want to kill them if they don't stop killing our terrorists. No shame. No shame at all. And when you look at it, you say, hold on a Turkish TV, they show the video cameras of the Turkish as they went into this quote-unquote prison that they had all these ISIS people locked in. They were telling the whole world, right? It was empty. It was empty. So is there really an ISIS? Or are those guys that they've been saying that they're supporting, are they the real ISIS? The vice president went over there with the Secretary of State. Why? Because all they're supporting, what does that mean, supporting? Do you understand what that means? All those weapons that those terrorists are using are American weapons. That's what we're talking about. And so they said, okay, don't take our weapons. We'll pick them up. That's why they went over there. Because now there's going to have too much proof. But the problem is the media and the people are so ignorant, so not caring, so indifferent to the reality, to the truth. America don't have to hide it no more. Okay, you busted us. Whatever. They're not even dealing with that. You know? So they can pick their things up, get their weapons. Okay, you got your 30. And the real reason they want that area, you guys, we got to remember, what is that area? That area is the Euphrates River, right? Remember, on the other side of it, they call it Iraq, right? But what's the real name of it? Babylonia. And the Jews always been claiming they came from Babylonia, right? So the real deal is he blew their plan up. You let a terrorist group, you support a terrorist group to take over that place. It's the same thing they do in the hood. We call it gentrification. It's just global gentrification. They destabilize the whole area, that whole area right there, right? Play like there's a border, like it's two different parts. It's the same area. You're supporting the terrorists on both sides of the river, okay? What do you think they're going to do in the future? Leave them there. They showed pictures where 2 years ago there's a village, let's say 300 houses. Now after that Turkish group went in there, like 15 houses. They burned all the people's houses and moved them out. Get it? It's just like Brownsville back in the day, back in the 70s, after the 76 riot. You know? Everything's burned down. Then next time you go back, you ain't got no crib. 10 years later, after the 80s, what happens? They let drugs go in there. They destabilize. Same thing they did with Palestine in the 80s. You know, when we was going in there in the Marine Corps back in the 80s, there were so many different groups, you couldn't drive nowhere. And then all of a sudden, I didn't even know there was different types of Arabs and Turks and this and that and everything. And then you come back now, it's all one country. Right? They're going to do the same thing there. Mess the area up, make it unstable for people to live. And then 5-10 years down the road, say, oh, well, these these Kurdish guys are terrorists. Right? Go in there, fight them, kill them. And then guess who that comes? That territory. Who do they get to come in there? They let the Jews come in there now and fight them. And now they have a split state. This was their plan. This split state, they'll have one up here, and then they'll have Jerusalem down here, so-called Israel. Between there, it'll be Syria, right? They'll let them now keep Damascus, and then they'll bring and connect their place. It's all tactics. And then after a while, they'll take that place, just like they did with Jerusalem. First, there was the East Bank and the West Bank, right? Guys, remember in the 80s, it was the East Bank and the West Bank. 6-day wall, this other nonsense, Next thing you know, the West Bank is taken. We need a buffer zone. And this is nothing new. They said this back in the 60s. They were going to do this. And it's still right there for anybody to read. So we have to understand, who they are and not stop thinking that there's some truth or something coming from these individuals. They are corrupt as they were when they poisoned the Native Americans that were here. They are corrupt as when they poisoned us. They are corrupt as they just poisoned our people a couple of years ago with the Ebola. Same people. Same people. And stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. They are not Muslimun. But so what we can do, the choice we can make in that is either go along blindly and just think that our lives mean nothing, we can't do anything, that victim thing. What Allah says in the Quran, كُنَّ مُسْتَضْعَفِينَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Oh Allah, we were weak in the earth. And the angel takes these people What was your situation? We couldn't do nothing. Allah says he's punishing these people. These people were punishing God. Wait, wasn't the earth of Allah big enough? Couldn't you now? Or we could be soldiers. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anybody pick up a weapon. What I mean is intellectual soldiers. Spiritual soldiers. Because you can't put a fool on a battlefield. You can't give a butter knife to a brute. It's going to cut the first person he sees, right? So the first thing that we have to make is an Islamic state here. Okay? And then here as well. These two things have to work together. And then that will spin out. You know, in effect, what we call that your circle of influence, right? You and those around your home, and then the homes of your friends, and that becomes, you know, addictive. That's what we need to do. And learning Arabic is one of the very first steps, if not the second, or the, you know, of course the Shahada comes first. And then the second step, you have to learn the Arabic language, and along with the fifth, these things are the first couple of ABCs, as we say. No one really can tell which one comes first, but they come in there. So we have to do that. We have to not that, you know, determine what we're going to do now, because there's so much that we could deal with. And so I say what we should do now is focus this period of time learning our Arabic. Okay? After we did our fundamentals, learn our Arabic. We get to a particular stage in there, and then we cut that off and we move on. Why? Because we can stay in Arabic for years. Okay? But we don't need to do that. There's too much other things that we have to catch up on. And then once we get at some particular standard, then we move to our fiqh, basic fiqh. And we learn the things that we need to be competent adults. You get my point? And now we have our fundamentals. Now we can now focus on starting down with the Quran and going ayah, through the whole Quran. Because now our Arabic is there, our basic fiqh is there. We can understand what the Quran is talking about from a linguistic way, from a fiqh perspective as well. It starts making sense. It's supportive. Does that make sense? That's the battle plan. And it don't make a difference what they do. Because if we stick to our battle plan, this is what they call the minhaj. It's like a pyramid. Don't make a difference where you die on that pyramid, as long as you do climbing up the ladder the proper way. And you're not skipping any steps. Does that make sense? And that's what we're going for. I just, what's that guy's name? The rich guy, the billionaire guy? He hangs out with Gates. Gates hangs out with him. He's the older one. Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett says, I read upwards to 500 pages every day. Okay? This is what Warren Buffett says. And he says, I don't care if my competitors know, because they're not going to do it. And he said he's been doing it for 18 years. Consistency. So it doesn't make a difference. See, the Islam is different than any other plan. Normally plans have to be hidden. The Islamic plan doesn't have to be hidden because it's impenetrable, meaning it's impenetrable. You can do nothing about it. Why? Because it's outside of their box. You get my point? They want you to go through their system because they've set up their system so well that you can't get out of their system. Go ahead, put in another motion. We will stop racism with all deliverance, right? You know, we're going to follow it. When was that? A lot of people think the 14th Amendment made us citizens. You guys realize that African Americans are not considered citizens, right? Until the 14th Amendment came, right? But did you realize that they didn't apply it retroactively? No. And then even when they applied it, they didn't apply every part of the 14th Amendment? That you had to go to court for each provision in the 14th Amendment, each state, and that is not accepted across all the states, every provision in it. So, you know, we don't realize how petty and striving they are to deny us of our human rights, and that how easy it is for us to accept that and go along like life is hunky-dory and wonder why we feel like and treat it like slaves, because you act like, not you all, we act like it. You get my point? Because a free person is going to be greedy about his freedom. Thinking about, hey, my rights are being infringed upon, I'm not accepting that. And I'm going to do whatever I can do within my physical abilities to maintain my freedom. And Allah has taught us that the first freedom is freedom from shirk.
No.
Right?
No.
That is the true freedom.
No.
And the only way through that is the route we're taking now. And that will affect everything that's happening to us personally. You know, not the other way around. Sometimes we get that mixed up. Okay? Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Another point, since we brought these things up, sometimes people come and say, you know, we even say, oh man, no. People say, okay, go Syria, go Palestine, go Kashmir, and then they don't say go Africa, right? When it comes to that thing. That's not their fault. That's our fault. When you see a box, when you go to the Eid, and it's the whole community, and there's a box out there, give money for Kashmir, give money for the immigrants that came over in the United States.
No.
Why isn't there a box there for the convert Muslims? There's not a box there for the convert. Don't come and say, yo man, they didn't put a box up for the convert Muslims. No, what do you got to do? You got to put a box up there for the. It ain't their job. Their job is to look out for their constituents.
No.
You know? And they'll say, oh, they're not saying, you know, hey man, go African American. No, you say it. You champion your causes. Oh, but they're not going to support. So? Is that that's the mindset of us, of not a free person. Why do you need their approval? Why is it so contingent on them saying, oh, that's good? Did they ask you when they talked about Kashmir or Syria? And then why every time we have a meeting, we got to have somebody else there? Oh, we want to include everybody. When they had a meeting about Kashmir, did they have a brother there? You get my point? Did they invite you when they had a meeting about what's going on in Palestine? Did they say, oh no, we got to have some brothers there too? And they're not wrong for that. They say, oh no, we got to include everybody. We got to give up the mindset of slavery. Does that make sense? All right. And while we're on it,
Alhamdulillah.
learning Arabic is not enough. After you learn Arabic, you should learn an African language. You should learn it. That should be your duty, a sense of duty. Because you're learning Arabic for your deen. But that's not all you have. What do you have? My deen,
It's myself.
Right, so then you have to deal with your culture as well, right?
No.
All right, we say we have problems sometimes with our brothers from the continent. Why? Because we're talking what I call talking naked. Yeah, we all talking in English. We have no privacy. We're having all our conversations. We're not able to conversate. It's like we're having our personal, private conversations out in the street. Why is that? Because we have lost our language. They're losing it, yes, and a lot quicker than we have. And for different reasons, but that's not the point. Okay? We won't have that problem when we can communicate clearly. Does that make sense, everybody? Because language is a secret agreed upon. Everybody, right? And when you're in on a secret, man, you're my man. 50 grand. Right? You see how we left? Because we know what that means. So, and we have to stop thinking that this is an impossibility, that this is going to take us 1,000,000 years, or this is going to take us 2 years, or anything like that. It does not take anything longer than a 6-month period to master a language to the point where you're talking it like you're talking English. Okay? Now, I said 4 months for the Arabic because you already know Arabic. You know, you already got it. You've been talking it, you know, here and there all throughout your Islamic life. You say it every day. So that gives you 2 months at least. Follow me, guys? All right, let's get busy. We still got some work to do. Today, we're going to, and I went off. Stop asking me questions, doctor.
Okay, I will. Inshallah.
I told you guys at the beginning of this course that I was afraid about the doctor asking me questions. Didn't I tell you that? 2 months ago, I said the only person I don't think I'm going to answer questions to is Dr. Yusuf. Didn't I say that? Come on, ladies, you got to go. Whoever's got to go, don't wait, make them stand wait. Alhamdulillah. But it's not a bad question. You know. Oh, you started. You jumped in. Well, you started it and he finished. All right. Alhamdulillah. Let's get back to our lesson.
He got you too.
No, it's okay though. He's okay. He can do that. He's, you know, anybody else can do that. But we gotta catch me on the side. Inshallah. Okay, listen up, guys. We're breaking the rule today because I started talking English. Okay, so I'm not gonna charge anybody a dollar. Okay. $10. Oh, now he wants all my money. Look I should have known. He's a charger. He was sitting there waiting, smiling the whole time. He was timing me. MashaAllah. Look. Say What does it mean?
Aleph.
Thank you. It's a question. What is it?
Ah.
What does it mean?
Question.
A question that can only be answered with yes or no. Na'am or la. Now in English, those questions come as is, am, are, or did. Thank you very much, son. Get my point? That's the only way it can be. Ana Abu Taubah? Kulu. Kulu's full sentence. Not what? Right, force yourself to say a full sentence. Okay? Henna. So, Ana Nazih. أنت لست نزيه. You get my point? لست نزيه. لست. Everybody in Arabic, I'm sorry. Is a question. Okay. So lesta. You are not. Or lesti. You are not to a woman, okay? Fahmin? Okay. هذا القلم؟ ذلك القلم. Because it ain't next to you. If it's next to you, say نعم هذا القلم. But if it's next to me and it's far from you, say ذلك القلم. تعال هنا يا ولد. هذا ولد؟
نعم ولد.
ذلك ولد.
ذلك ولد.
أيوة الحمد لله. هذا بنت؟
لا هذا بنت. لا هذا بنت.
ليس بنت.
ليس بنت.
ليس. He is not.
ليست.
ليست. She. Have the time. Continue. هذا بنت؟
لا هذا بنت. لا هذا بنت.
تلك البنت. هذا ولد؟
لا هذا ولد.
ليست ولد.
ليس ولد.
متأكدون؟ أكيد؟ Are you certain? أكيد؟
نعم. Yes.
أيوة الحمد لله. فاهمون؟
فاهمون.
هذا النزيه؟
نعم ذلك النزيه.
ذلك النزيه. Or you say هو النزيه. هو النزيه. Now you say man. Say man.
Man.
I'm sorry.
Man?
Say man.
Man.
Mean.
نعم.
You can say man.
Man.
You don't have to say man. You don't have to say man who. You can say man who. You can say man that.
Man.
You can say mean. You can just say man.
Man.
You can say a lot of things, but that's it. Let's do it again.
Man.
إنه أبو توبة.
لا
هل يدخل؟
تفضل.
نعم شكرا جزاك الله خير. السلام عليكم. من هاجر مخلص؟ من مخلص؟ أنت حاجة مخلص؟ أنت حاجة مخلص؟
لا لا
ما مهم. أنا سألت من هاجر مخلص؟ من أحمد؟ من أحمد؟ هي أحمد. قل ها أنا تا. قل ها أنا تا. That means here I am. ها أنا تا. أنا هو. Or أنا هي. أنا هو or أنا هي. ها أنا تا. ها أنا تا. ها أنا ذا. ذا. تا. ها أنا. All right, here you go. How can I? Okay? So now I want you guys to ask each other, is this so-and-so? And then the person say the right name or say the wrong name. And the other person say, Naam, ana so-and-so. Fahmt? Or la, lestu so-and-so. Lestu, I am not. Lestu, I am not. Fahimun? Naam, fahimin. Hey, walhamdulillah. Lestu, antum ta'ban? تعبانة. نعم. لست تعبان. أنا نشيط. هذا نشيط. هذا نشيط energetic. يعني نشيط. حركات. I can move around a lot. تعبان. أنا تعبان. ولست نشيطا.
لست نشيدا.
فاهمون؟ ايوه تكلم سلم. هذا دكتور يوسف؟
نعم هذا دكتور يوسف.
هذا دكتور يونس؟
لا ليس دكتور يوسف.
ومن هو؟
هو دكتور يوسف.
ما شاء الله السلام عليكم يا دكتور يوسف. كيف حالكم؟
بخير.
هذا دكتور يونس؟
ليس
ليس
دكتور يوسف.
ومن هو؟
هو نسير.
نزيه؟
نعم.
ما شاء الله السلام عليكم نزيه. الله يسلمك. الحمد لله. من هو؟ ناصر.
هو مصر.
متأكد؟ أنت متأكد؟
مصر.
متأكد. أي say متأكد. متأكد. It means I'm sure. متأكد. تأكيد. متأكد. Or you can say أكيد. Are you sure? And the answer is أكيد. يعني متأكد. Or if he says متأكد, and you know say نعم متأكد.
Are you saying car or cab?
كاف متأكد. متأكد. Hey, you stand. Oh, you the last one? No, she's not supposed to go then. She's the last one. Whoever is it, go. Who didn't go? Okay. Alhamdulillah, we found her. Wajadna. So no, take your time. Alhamdulillah. متأكد؟
متأكد.
If you're talking to a woman, what do you say?
متأكد.
متأكدة؟
متأكدة.
أأنتن متأكدات؟ نعم متأكدة right? متأكدات women right get it? What you say متأكدة for the ladies okay متأكد أيوة الحمد لله تتكلموا كلم سأله ask him مصطفى إبراهيم مصطفى No, you don't say that. You say to him, you ask him, who is he? If he is, you can make up a name. You get my point? Come on, stand up, guys. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Kumu. Arab dame kum. Ahmed Akbar. Kumu. لا انجليزي. تفضل. كلموا. لا, this is the way you're supposed to do it. Look, you're not supposed to be just talking. You ask her. You ask her. Say, هذه هي خديجة أمير المؤمنين. هي خديجة. ليست خديجة.
السلام عليكم.
لا اوكي. السلام عليكم يا عالم. السلام عليكم يا عالم. من هي؟
أبوك.
من هي؟ لا don't give me one word sentence. هي خديجة. هكذا تكلم. Then you ask أنت سمية أم طيبة أو أنت أم خالد.
Very good. Okay.
Listen, very good. جيد جدا. لا بتكلم معه. من هي؟ هي مدينة بس. Don't just give one word. Give the full name. Listen, guys. Don't just give one word. Give your full name. Don't just say like Mukhlis bin Lanzo. You know, say the name so then everybody, because you guys should know everybody's name anyway. But this helps you. Good. Remember. Assalamu alaikum. كيف حالك؟ ما شاء الله. هذا دكتور يوسف؟
لا دكتور.
ومن هو؟ هكذا.
يا أستاذ
نعم ليس أنت كيف من هذا؟ نعم؟
في لغة عربية. لام.
الآن لا. ولم. We didn't do لن ولم yet. Yes. That's another lesson. But today's lesson is don't start with Don't start with seriously practice little things. Yes, we can do lam وإذا وكيف ولام وكيف لام الجهود وياه وكيف. I mean that's the whole poem. But that's a poem. But that's not our lesson. Okay. ليس درسا. Today we're doing what I want you guys to practice. What I want you guys to practice is passing on a conversation. Okay, because that's what we're all about. I want you guys to get used to it. And what I know what you do is starting it with
Simple food.
You speak very good. But you start the conversation with You don't have to. Well, this is what you do. This is why you practice it. All you got to do is take a breath and train.
She can't eat.
Whenever someone has a habit, so focus on starting the conversation by replacing a habit
They
with a
can't eat
habit.
in here. They can't eat in the mattress. No.
And say Alhamdulillah.
Not now.
And then start doing it. You notice all the old ulama, before they would answer questions, was first to come their mouth. Alhamdulillah. Okay? They say Alhamdulillah. Sometimes they would thank the person for the question, and then they start answering the question. There's always this particular gap. You know what I'm saying? And that will keep you from us. Okay? Take a deep breath. Now, when I was in Mauritania, we had a lot of Arabs from other places. And all of them started doing the same thing. So your habit is coming from talking to Arabs. Okay? And they all got beat up. Meaning, okay, listen. Take a breath. That's how you do, because they're going to get to sound out before the word. Me up, you told me. ما شاء الله من أين أنت يا مصطفى؟ Very nice. It's very nice. I like this. ما هذا ليس لك إذا سائل
I only want to say yes and no.
There's some little girl got snatched up the other day outside. We're not playing. Stay right here. You heard about that? Yeah, that's not too far from me. I was thinking about your daughter. It's like, here I am at your service. Hey, you children, get back in here. I just told you. Listen, some children got snatched up just last week in Greensboro.
I want to know what that is.
And the parents was watching from the window. Okay? Watching from the window, and then turned around for a minute, came back, children was gone. You know? It's not cool you guys go outside there. Outside. Just stay here. Sit, just talk with the adults.
Here?
And it shouldn't be no chore. Fix your face. So, no.
But here,
Get away from that corner, huh? تكلم مع الناس. You speak تتكلم بالعربية. There's a girl over there speaking fluent Arabic. That one right there. It's any way you want to ask any question you want to end with a yes or no. You say Hey, listen, guys, listen up. Listen up, guys. Hey, listen up, everybody. انتبهوا 1 second. Is used when you take a regular sentence. I am here. Okay? It's a normal sentence. We are going. I want food. You want food. If you put "at" in front of any of those normal sentences, what does it turn it into? Question. Any question you want to ask that has to end with a, yes or no answer, put "at" in front of it. Now, sometimes "a" might not sound good in Arabic before a word, so you put "hal." Hal ataka hadithul. You get my point? Hal. Ara'ayta alam tara. You get my point? Both of those are just the two ways of doing it. So you can say "a" or "hal." هذا رجل. هل هذا رجل? There's no difference. You get my point? But "a" is real easy though, right? أنا هنا أو هناك. أنت هنا. أنا هنا. لا. فهمت؟ نحن في المسجد. نحن في العالم آخر. نحن في القمر. That's not the nation of Islam. Okay. نعم تفضل. Don't learn it that way. Don't learn it that way. نحن means we.
No, ليس نحن.
Okay. ليس فنحن. النون. نا. لسنا. فهمت؟ مسجدنا. أولادنا. فهمت؟ ديننا إسلامنا. نا. هو لنا. That's when you know they don't they look at you like, what? Hey, well, come on, تكلم. But I particularly didn't give you less na here because I don't really want you to work on that. See, these things are by degrees. What I deal with most of the time, the first thing we're going to talk about is what we use mostly. Most of the time you're going to say you are not. Right? He is not. She is not. I am not. Get that knocked out first. Don't work on the things that I haven't given you. It'll come with ease. If you get the like we did the numbers today. Our next lesson is still on the telling time. But it's gonna be 10 before the hour, 10 after the hour, and 2 o'clock, 2:30. Right? Why didn't I do that now? Because the concept would be too confusing at one time. So first thing we did is, what is the o'clock? You get my point? And it's not because we don't know it, because there is a technique to this madness. That's why we didn't do lam wa len wa alan. Our time is up. Assalamu alaikum. قد حان الوقت. قد حانت الوقت. اجلسوا واستمعوا وانتبهوا لما سأقول. صباح الخير. السلام عليكم. الحمد لله. كيف حالكم؟ أنا بخير والحمد لله. اشكروا أستاذكم يا نساء، شكروه.
شكرا بارك الله فيك.
لا الإخوة قد هذا الوقت قد انتهت. سنبدأ مرة أخرى يوم الاثنين إن شاء الله. Okay, so don't tell the men, if you know these guys, don't tell them anything about the test. Okay? No, seriously, these are rules. You can't tell them about the test. One time one of the sons of the Sahabiyat was working for the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet sent him to do something, and his mother saw him in the street or something, or saw him at the house. He said, what are you doing? And stuff like that. And he demurred, This is what, you're doing something for the Prophet? But he said to him, don't tell the secret of the Prophet. He said, don't. He said, if you doing something for the Prophet? He said, yes, okay, I'm not asking you the secret. And a messenger of Allah. So she respected the privacy thing right there. There's a lot to learn from that hadith. That if this is supposed to be a secret, it's a secret. You get my point? Not on haram, not on bad. Of course, you're supposed to tell things to the leader. But now here we're dealing with just a test. So it doesn't help them if you tell them what the test is. Okay, you guys got part of it. But I do want to ask you guys, how did you like that part of it? Okay, now I say, even without seeing it, that you did good. Why? Because you had a conversation with a fluent native speaker. You guys get the point? So when you're starting to get, and you're getting comfortable, and being women, you're talking to a man, so this is like, okay, and it's a test, so there are the normal pressures for it being a test. Does that make sense? So when you do that, you get more accustomed to hearing it from native, okay, and then having to respond in the environment that you had to do. Alhamdulillah. And I know he's not going to let you cheat. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be on it because it's in a manner. There was this one Shaikh Muhammad Alamin al-Shanqiti. Alamin al-Shanqiti. Now, rahimahullah, he's a more famous Mauritanian Shaikh, in fact, not the most famous of the Mauritanian Shi'ud. He's the one, he walked to Saudi Arabia from Mauritania, came all the way, went to Sudan first, and then, hung out with Sudan for a little while, because Sudan and Mauritania have a really, brother relationship, because they're both living that old style, desert lifestyle, And so he went there, he hung out there for a while, and then he made his way up into Saudi Arabia. When he got to Saudi Arabia, of course, they accepted him as a sheikh at that time, okay? And they were just starting Medina University, and they made him one of the professors at Medina University. They stopped him from proctoring tests. They would never let him proctor a test, okay, after some time. Because when he first used to proctor the tests, one time a student said to him, yeah, Sheikh, I don't understand this question. What does this, that, and the other thing mean? And he said, well, Allah says this, and he pretty much gave him the whole answer. Okay? So the students caught on and said, hold on. All you got to do is ask him. And he's going to answer, And so that's what they started doing. They got tough. They would ask him. So then the other professor said, hold on, man. What are you doing? So they took him to the dean, not the dean, but the president of the university. And he said, talk to him. tell him he cannot give the answers during the test. And he says, it's in a manner. They said, it's in a manner. Okay, it's a test. He said, but I got a previous amana that I got to keep. Okay? Allah, I'm a teacher, number one, and Allah's messenger said, whoever is asked some knowledge and they conceal it, they're going to wear a lijab of fire on their mouth, Yom Qiyamah. Okay? So y'all can fire me if you want. But if anybody asks me something that I know, I'm telling them. Okay? It's knowledge. Okay? Now, how serious y'all want to take 1 minute to give these tests? And so they stopped them from giving the test, rahimahullah. They stopped them from doing that. So that generation was like that. That's you're like, oh, come on, you understand the test? No, I don't understand nothing. All I understand is Allah says this, Allah just said that. That's what I'm living by. Get somebody else that can understand what you're talking about. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. But that's a good thing for us to remember. Okay, so I hope that you guys enjoyed the test. You make dua for your teachers and whatnot. And I hope you enjoyed the lesson too. How did you guys enjoy the talking back and forth, even though with these things like this? Okay, remember, Arabic works more when you use it. Okay? You don't need me necessarily here all the time. There's going to be this time in November. He was mentioned to me earlier this week that we have to, when is that?
November 9th.
November 9th. I have to go to Colombia to give a lecture on Saturday, right? And yeah, you can go. It's
flies on the wall.
Yes, it's going to be that thing. However, now it could be a school trip but you guys, to me, the thing about it, it's going to be things that you already know now, because the lecture is going to be on the class that we already covered, the adab of the talib al-ilm. See, the CIC in South Carolina has a particular place in the United States, especially on the East Coast. Okay, on the East Coast, it's the closest place to being overseas. Meaning, when you go overseas, you go back in the 80s and the 90s, you would go to a spot and there'd be a whole bunch of tulab there, right? You go and there'd be people living there and stuff like that. They have a similar type of situation there in South Carolina. Okay, whereas the Shaikh Adli is there, and around that community you have a bunch of people who are actually tulabul ilm, studied different places, who are there. I guess they decided to conglomerate there. So the lecture I'm going to be giving is going to be given to them, because there are certain fundamentals we wanted to share with them. Okay, and if you were there, you would see that even these tulab who've gone overseas have not mastered some of these things. Okay, but I don't want it to be like a showing off type thing. Right, we're dealing with the 5 major fiqh principles. Okay, and but we will have our dars. If you guys are going to be here, we will still have a lesson, even though I'm not here. Okay, but in Colombia, what time is it in Colombia? In my class, my lecture.
Yours is supposed to be, I think,
before the Dhuhr, right?
Dhuhr, yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing the one around, because I know they have one in the morning, but I'm doing the one so that the people could get there. So that's that. Right? So it's probably going to be around the same time of the class. Now, what I would like to know is, if you guys are going to have a class, I will make sure, inshallah ta'ala, that we have the ustad here. Okay? And you don't need to see, it takes more than one monkey to have a circus. And we have to not be dependent on one person, and the system breaks down when one person is not there. Okay? Does that make sense? And that is my intention also, because we have to establish a tradition of continuing the program. Does that make sense? So we will have class. Will you be there? Okay, alhamdulillah.
It might also be online too.
Well,
Shaikh Ali puts stuff online.
he does, but more important is your class, because you already know the 5 basic principles of fiqh, right? Plus 2, right? What you're doing, and that's the thing that we have to focus on. Stay in your lane. One of the things I learned from being a talib al-ilm, and even being in college and being in the military too, is that my objective is to get there, right? And I may be here. My friend may be there. I don't care where he's at. I'm not looking at that. I got to work my program and keep my program so that I can get my goal. Does that make sense? You know, sometimes when we go to lectures with Shaikh Muhammad Salam, rahimahullah, and I'll be like, man, this is a waste of time. You know, to one degree, because I'm like, hey, man, he's doing baby stuff with them. Why? Because he does it every day in our class. You get my point? You guys see me 3 times a week. I'm doing the same thing. At that place, they don't see me, so it's going to be maybe more, they're going to see, okay, it's kind of strange because Abu Talib's not there. Does that make sense? But to you guys, like, oh, man, he knows this stuff. He's just doing, I mean, we did that. But remember, stuff like that, I wrote that in like 2006. Okay, so it's not even new. It's just that people haven't been exposed to some of it. Does that make sense? All right, so I suggest you don't go to that class, but you come to your class, okay? And let Sheikh Idrisi and Dr. Yusuf run the class. You do the practice that you need. Talking. Show, because your respect shouldn't be respect for me in the classroom alone. You know, you get my point?
No.
The respect should be for respect for the class and for yourself. And your desire to come is to get the information, the knowledge, and turn it into knowledge through the program that we set down. Now, I had planned for a guy from, New York to fly down here for that class. Okay? He's in Sudan right now. And he doesn't know if he'll be back in time for it. Okay? So if he's not able to get back, he still will come and teach a class, because I had already planned out for me to just disappear one day and him to show up and teach the class and see how you guys react. Okay? And we'll still do that, you know, because you're supposed to be learning Arabic to use, not use just with me. You get my point? Fahimeen? Hey, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. So we're now starting to stretch out some of the basics that we know, and really you guys are doing very, very well. I have to applaud you guys, and I have to let you know that you are gaining. Do you realize that you're gaining? That's the question.
No.
Do you feel like you're talking more?
No.
Or you feel more comfortable?
No.
Twins? Okay. Oh, she got already gave class over. Mashallah, it is. We're done. You know, it's not a problem. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin. Now, today I spoke English, right? No. We had a break. We're going to blame Dr. Yusuf for that.
And
You know? No, Ahmed, it's okay. It's okay for any of the students that has the questions. But when we come back Monday, we're continuing. Okay? I know what I'm giving you. I'm not giving you stuff happenstance. Okay? I'm giving you things as we go along. I expect you to use them. I know I told you to take those cards at home and put them up in your house. Those things should be common knowledge. I told you guys to do Duolingo every day. Are you doing it? I hear mumbling.
No.
You gotta be consistent. That's your daily homework, to do 1 crown. You want to finish that thing off, because it's going to give you a lot of practice. And practice is one of those things, those drills that you got to constantly do, that you don't realize you're getting better at, because it's constantly doing it. It does you 5 times in that whole thing, right? But it's not nothing new. It's just repetitive. But it's teaching you to regurgitate. Okay? No, I don't raise left hands. Right hands. Yes, ma'am.
On Duolingo, like each little thing has several lessons. Several
5 lessons.
Okay, so let's do all 5 on that.
Yes.
One, like say
No.
family,
You can
all
do it any
5.
way you want to. Okay? You can do it. There's each star. Each
crown.
what do you call it? No. What do you call that thing? It's like a Boy Scout badge.
Yeah.
Okay? Each Boy Scout patch goes up to 5. Then it turns gold. You could do it any way you want to. You want to do all of it up to gold and then go down? You can do that. You want to do all of it one time? Do that. Do whatever you like. You know, whatever works for you. Some days you might want to do it all up to gold. Next day you might want to just keep doing as many as you can. Do it. The point is to do it every day. At least 1 a day. But doing 1 a day is really not enough. I want you to get addicted to it. Okay? I want you to get on a streak. And your crowns and your numbers be the same. You know, the number, the fire, you keep going. Because that consistency is what you guys need. Everybody follow me?
No.
Please, if you do that along with what I'm doing, you know, we're really inundated. We got 3 classes a week. We added the 3rd class because you cannot learn language 2 days a week. But really, you can't learn language 3 days a week either. You know, right? You need to do it every day. And that's why the Duolingo comes in there. And that's what those tags in your house come in there. And that's what you're reading Quran and reading whatever books you have comes in there. So that you're totally in on it. That's why watching the TV programs I told you guys to watch comes in there. So you're listening to programs on the television or whatever, the phone or whatever. You know, you're doing a Duolingo for 20 minutes a day. Okay? You're reading your Quran and things are popping out because Laysa and Lestu and all this is in the Quran. Okay? And then you're coming to class 3 times a week and sitting with me and we're doing that too. That should all be like a whole bunch of, ooh, you know what I'm saying? It should be taking you around the place. And we're not done yet. I'm just getting warmed up. We're about to start our next phase of this class. We started the Arabic and then we're going to move to another phase of it. We're going to invent a story. Now, we're not going to invent a story. We're going to do a story. The best story ever written. You know what that is? Ahsan al-Qasas. Thank you. We're going to go through you're going to go through Surah to Yusuf. Scene by scene. We're going to run it down like a movie. Insha'Allah ta'ala. Surah to Yusuf is the most detailed story in the Quran. So it's the best place for us to go, right? You said something? Taubah, why not? What kind of class is this? You know, what if I said, this is Francais? Du Francais? The Turkish? No, it's going to be, Al-Arabi. Al-Arabi. Inshallah ta'ala. That's our purpose. Is to go through the story so that we can start thinking in Arabic. Okay? So, you gotta, it's not gonna help if I don't get you set up going through these other things, because once we start doing that, you're still doing Duolingo every day. You get my point? You still got that. So at the end of it, you say, well, Abu Taubah, you got us doing everything right. That's right. How you think you're gonna get done in 4 months? Well, you thought you was gonna go like this? Get there walking? No, man. When I went to Ranger School, in Marine Corps Ranger School, amphibious reconnaissance school, there's a gate. It's on, this place, this compound. When you get on there, they tell you don't ever let you see you walking as long as you're on this compound. The whole time you're at the school, what you got to do? Run. And you're tired. We swim the breakfast. Okay, through the ocean. Okay? And if you get there, you can't walk in wet. So you got to waterproof your clothes and drag them with you. Right? And if they're wet, guess what? Navy guys or Army guys, they're not letting you in the chow hall. So you go hungry, won't you? No. Or you smart, you wait outside till your buddy go eat and then take his clothes. And go inside there. You ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? So, the point was that I said you're running the whole time. What is a recon known for? The recon shuffle, right? Recon shuffle, 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 shuffle. How do you learn the recon shuffle? By running all over the place. Can you run all full speed the whole time? No. So you learn how to pace. You look like you're running. You're moving. You're constantly moving like this until you finally, now you know that recon shuffle, because if they hear you coming, you got to go back. What's the code? Swift, silent, and deadly, right? So you got to move quickly. You can't be clumsy and making noise. They heard you kicking rocks and dragging your feet. Go back, man. We heard you. And then you get in trouble for being late. So you get there for being swift. You learn how to be graceful is the silent part. People think it's just being silent. You learn to be graceful, right? And that's the whole point. And efficient is actually the deadly part. So here for this lesson, it's the same type of thing. How are you going to get comfortable in Arabic? By me putting a whole lot of Arabic on you. Starting you off, getting you going, and keep adding on till you're juggling a whole bunch of things. Stuff like, you're doing all this other stuff and chewing gum at the same time. Right? Then the 4 months over, and then you're like, oh man, Subhanallah, كيف حالكم؟ لا بس الحمد لله. And it becomes easy. And then as we start the other things, you know, and as we start doing other classes, the Arabic that you know adds to that. Fahimeen? Okay, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. What'd you say? And practice makes improvement, right? Practice makes improvement. Alhamdulillah. Yes, I would like all these things. Do I? Yeah, where's my wajibah? Oh, you guys forgot, huh?